So this may be in the top 7 most important lessons of the course. So listen to everything that I say carefully, rewatch this video a couple of times, keep an open mind as well, because I really wish I had someone tell me these things when I first began. Now after 6 years, these are my honest thoughts about trading. So trading is very, very unstructured. The market constantly throws different variables at you. And I see a lot of traders, new traders, experienced traders, they try to structure trading and they don't realize that it's unstructured. The best example I could give about this is you try to figure out a puzzle that virtually is impossible to solve. Trading, you're never going to figure it out. You're never going to solve it. I still to this day learn different things. I still to this day learn new things because the market constantly throws out different things at me. So now I have to react, take those things, try to interpret it, and then take trades or decisions based off of that. Many people try to read a book or listen to something and they try to figure something out that works 100% of the time. And you all know that something that's unstructured, there's no 100% guarantee. There's no right answer. It's completely subjective. I honestly believe that trading is how you see it. Somebody might see it differently than you do, and somebody that sees it differently might have success, and you try to copy that success and it doesn't work out for you. Or you figure something out for yourself, and what works for you might not work for that other person that has success doing something else. So you have to figure out what fits your personality the best and what works out for you. It's the best way I could put it. So to do this, you have to have your own conviction. Now, a lot of people, hate to say it, are closed-minded. They can't use their own brain to make their own analysis, to have their own conviction. They need validation from somebody else. So I can tell you one thing for certain, that no one in this game is going to make you money besides yourself. Going back to the 70s, going back to the 90s, even the 80s when there was pit trading, people would be in the pit, they would do their own analysis, they would put their own trades on, and they wouldn't rely on someone else saying, hey, buy this or buy that. People that do that, they can't come up with their own analysis and they need outside validation. Profits in the market, they come from you and you only. They're not outside. They come based on what you think, what you feel, and the decisions you put on. So if you rely on others to give you more conviction, tell you to do this, do that, then you're really doing something wrong. And I can tell you for certain that you're not going to have any long-term consistency in this game. The best analysis is your own, and the best conviction is having meat in the oven. It's doing your own thing, validating yourself. If you take a loss on it, you take a loss on it. But if you win with your own analysis, you're going to feel so good to have trust in yourself and have trust in your system. Now, people that don't have a plan, people that don't have a setup, people that don't have an edge are going to have a hard time thinking about this. They're going to have a hard time doing this. And because those people can't think outside the box, they can't think freely. I see it all the time. I don't want to bash anybody, but in this game, you have to have an open mind. You have to think outside of the box, put different scenarios together, formulate a trading plan around it, formulate different setups. And then when you have that, you're going to have an edge. Now, people come into the market without an edge, and that's a big red flag. But the only way to have an edge is if you think outside the box, you think freely, you have your own conviction, and you do your own analysis. Now, going back to the structured part, your trading needs to have some structure, meaning you have to have an edge. You can't go into the market blind, and you can't think inside of the box. What I mean by this is when I first started trading, I was looking at, top 5 patterns or top 5 stocks to invest in, stuff like that. That's thinking inside the box. That's thinking closed-mindedly, and that's not really thinking freely. Now, doing that, you don't have a plan, you don't have a setup, you don't have an edge. What I mean by this is you have to structure it to a point that you know that, hey, when X meets Y, Z happens. And if X meets Y and Z doesn't happen, my analysis and my plan was correct, but just the market wasn't in agreement with that at the time. So you really need to formulate an edge. You need to have your own setups and you need to have a plan. So you could look at that as a structured aspect of trading. But what I mean by stop trying to structure something that's unstructured is stop trying to formulate trading into, like, let's just say a perfect circle and try to make something out of 100% guarantee. When this does this, this is 100% of the time going to happen. Now, honestly, I'm going to keep it as real as possible. There's a lot of common misconceptions that new traders think about or see all over the internet. So you cannot be a good trader by watching or trading for a short period of time. Many new traders think that they could read a book, they could look at a chart, or they could take a course and be a millionaire next week. It's possible. I'm not going to say it's impossible. But this game, to be consistent and to have success in the long run, you need to have screen time, you need to have experience, and you need to take losses. None of these things can come in a short period of time. This game is a journey. You play to play the game. You don't play for the points. Now, to really, really learn in this, you could use this course, you could use the books as more tools to further your knowledge. But the real growth and the real education in this game is learning by having skin in it and taking losses. With anything in life, you need to have pain in order to gain. Now, everyone's journey is a spiritual one, not, the spiritual one that you're really thinking of, but I mean one where you have to learn your losses, learn what you did in order to win. Now, I really, really am confident that my success today comes from what I did in the past and taking losses. If I didn't lose in my first 2 years of trading, I firmly believe I wouldn't be where I'm at today, because those losses gave me experience, and that experience put screen time under my belt. If you go back to the example I said earlier in the course with a doctor or a surgeon performing surgery, it takes 4 years, even 8 years before they could first, cut somebody open and do their first surgery. Or it takes a lawyer 8 to 10 years of law school before they could start handling their first case. So everyone's journey is different, but in this game, you need to have screen time. You need to have that experience. And without those screen time, that experience, you need to have losses in order to build upon that. So you could have all the screen time in the world, you could have all the experience you want, but if you don't lose and feel what it feels like to lose, you're never going to win. I know what I know because I lost. I learned what to avoid, and I learned what not to do. People take a loss, they sit there with their head down, and they don't learn from it. The way I look at it is a loss is a win if I take something out of it. Now, the only way to take something out of it is by journaling. I'm a big stressor about journaling, reviewing and reflecting on that journal. It takes time. You should go into the market every day. If you take a trade, you lose on it, you journal it. If you don't take a trade and you just want to review what happened, reverse engineer why a stock went up 10%, or reverse engineer why a market went down 10%, review it, put it in your journal, put it in your log everything. Then review it, reflect on it, and when you see common similarities or you see common denominators to tell you what to avoid or what to go full force with, that's when you start growing as a trader. It takes time, and you're not going to build upon your journal in a month time. This really takes 6 months, a year, even 2 years. So it really boggles my mind. I can't figure it out. I think it's an ego thing or maybe a personality trait that so many people think that they could be a millionaire or make $1,000 a day consistently every day in the first month. Believe me, this takes screen time, this takes experience, and this takes losses. The best traders are the ones that can bounce back after a setback, go back to where they were, and become stronger, push forward, and really level up to the next step. So the last point I'm going to leave is that the market moves in cycles. This is why it takes time too. No market is the same. The market that I'm seeing right now as I'm recording this video is not something that I've really seen, for 2 years, 3 years. So you need to see it all. Some markets are extremely easy to trade. Some markets are balanced. Some markets are imbalanced. Some markets lack volatility. Summer months lack volume. In the winter, or once the summer's over, we start seeing volume coming in. Now, it's not the case 100% of the time. Some summers could have higher volume. Some winters could have lower volume. It's not the same. No market's the same. The key is adapting, understanding the cycles, and you're not going to understand them if you've never been in one. So that's why you need the time to it. You need to see it all. You need to adapt to it all in order to understand it all. It's really the best piece of advice I could give.